Hey, Kris.
No.
Notice Connor left practice a little bit early. Any issues there? You expect him to be available for game one?
Yes, he'll be fine. Yeah, no issues.
What's the process of preparing when you got these few days to, prepare for this team specifically? Like the players, differ in terms of how much of the games they actually watched, but how much video do you go over? What's that process look like?
Well, a lot of it starts with our video coaches. They're the ones who do most of the work, getting us ready, preparing. They're doing that starting probably round one of the playoffs. They're watching games and possibly what's going to happen. And they're cutting up video of, in this instance, Florida weeks ahead of time. And then when we finish our Dallas series, it pretty much lands on my lap, and now I'm looking at what they do. And all the coaches are looking, obviously. Glenn and Mark are looking at special teams, and that's all work's been done and prepared for them. And now they're finding out what they do, where their strengths, what do we need to do, what do we need to share with our players, what's not important. And then we have a couple of days of practices and off days, and then we decide, what we need to practice, what are we showing for our video for the players, and just trying to keep the rhythm and very similar to what we've done through previous rounds, just so we're not doing anything too much differently.
Hey, Kris. We've noticed that you guys have a very business-like approach this playoffs, but there's also some moments of levity, like Connor Brown jumping out of a cupboard to reveal it. Like, how important are things like that to kind of keep everything grounded and not just have it all so serious all the time?
Yeah, it's got to be fun. Playing hockey, I think when you're successful, two of the most important things are, one, you work hard, two, you're enjoying what you're doing. And, at the end of practice day, we had a small area game. That small area game going to help us with any system to beat the Florida Panthers? No, absolutely not. But guys enjoy moving and playing a game, touching the puck. There's lots of movement. They feel good. And, and whether it's somebody's jumping out of the cupboards or whatever they're doing, I think it's important that, yes, we're very businesslike. It's important to be focused, but you can also have fun. And I don't think that fun's going to distract anybody from what our goal is. So I think during this playoff run, that we've obviously had a goal in mind, but I think everyone's been able to enjoy the ride.
I know it's been a long year, even though it seems like it's flown by, but you guys, this was where you guys wanted to be after the Game 7 last year. Do you reflect on the road you got to get here, and I just want to ask you how you guys are feeling going into this final, after that, just up and down season?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's been on our mind of what happened last year, and looking forward to getting to the playoffs. And the regular season is a grind. It's 82 games plus the exhibition and training camp to get there. And there's a lot of hockey games, and you try and build up for the playoffs. And I think we've, fortunately, we're playing our best hockey because I think we're also more engaged. We're more in the moment. We wanted to be playing these hockey games, so I think that's part of it. And yeah, going into this series, I don't know. I think we've been thinking about this. We're ready for it. We're a lot of sitting and waiting until Wednesday. It's it's not quite as long a break as before the Dallas series, but I think a few days, and then everyone's ready to start playing games again.
Kris, so you've already won 27 games in your first 2 years as a coach. No one in NHL history has ever done that. What have you learned from last year's run to the Cup that can help you this year, purely from a coaching perspective?
Well, the one thing would be, I'm familiar with the Florida Panthers. We made adjustments during the rounds or the final last year. Hopefully we can use some of that experience and that knowledge that we can move forward and help us right away from this. And, I think, last playoff round or last year's playoffs, you don't know what to expect. It's a totally different situation from regular season. Just playing every second day and having pretty much no practice time, and what you need to do on maybe making some adjustments to your lineup, to your team's play. It was all new to me last year. This year, I'm certainly more comfortable with it, but you kind of know the expectations, and you also preparing for the ups and downs. And I've got an outstanding team that makes it a lot easier for me, my job, to make those adjustments. And obviously the coaching staff that I work with, I have a lot of respect for. They're helping me along the way. But I don't know, I guess just with last year's experience, I think it just helps me prepare of what the next step is and what might happen.
Connor Brown was on the ice today. He was in the gray jersey on the fifth line. What do you need to see from him or hear from the doctors in the next few days? Wednesday.
I think he'll be fine. He's obviously, you saw him on the ice often double shifting, and I'm pretty sure and confident that he'll be fine for game one.
Kris, long road trips are a part of hockey players' lives since they've in junior. But what makes the Florida Edmonton back and forth challenging, and how do you pass the time on the airplane?
Well, I look back and I'm thinking about some of the road trips I used to do when I was in the Western Hockey League, and this is absolutely nothing, just a breeze. Obviously, we're traveling a lot more comfortably than being on a coach bus. But for me, it's usually watching a lot of video, getting prepared for a next meeting, and doing lineups. And when I do get away from that hockey, it's reading a book and trying to shut it off a little bit, just to kind of relax.
You talked about Jeff Skinner last game, how he's been so professional in the way and he's been deployed in the playoffs. Scored the goal. I just want to ask you about his skating ability. He was a figure skater when he was younger, and he seems to have that ability to kind of skate sideways, kind of like Doug Waite used to do when he was here. Maybe a thought on his ability to kind of use those edges and how you've seen him play.
His mobility is tremendous. He's not straight away fast speed like Connor McDavid, but most of the game is about short bursts and having a good agility, and he's able to do that. And the skating that you're talking about is makes it a little more difficult for the defenseman to check you. You're more elusive. You can spin off a little bit easier. You can protect the puck in different situations, and he's one of the best at it in the league. As for his play, I think everyone feels extremely happy for him to get that goal the other night and play as well as he did. Being on the bench, so many guys, like when that goal went in, there was a little bit of doubt, how that puck went in and when it went in and who scored it. And I know, I think it was Leon in front of me, just shouted out Skinner's name, like, yes, it was Skinner. And then the other guys just light up and like, that's awesome. You want to see good things happen to good people, and guys, especially good people who have gone through some adversity. And there's been a lot of adversity for him this year. It hasn't gone as well as anyone anticipated. But for him to be in Stanley Cup Final and him to be able to score a goal to help us get there, we're very, very happy for him, and he's deserved it. So, I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him at some point in the series, whether that's for game one or later on, I'm not sure. But, he's been a great depth player, if you can say that, for me to use and when we used him. And, he's only been in 2 playoff games so far this run. And, we've been fortunate, knock on wood, that we haven't had many injuries, and hopefully we're lucky enough going forward with that. But, as for Jeff's professionalism, I've got nothing but good things to say about him.